And here we are yet again, another tutorial. This time I wanna make this tutorial for all beginners that maybe just got into the piano or maybe even scratched the intermediate level. I myself believe I'm on the intermediate level, but I have yet to get a teacher and make sure that I am where I am, make sure I'm learning it all right. And I simply make this tutorial out of all the information I've accumulated. None of this is my own idea. It's just from sites, from Laipur. He's on YouTube as well. He made 40 tutorials, gathered all the information from there, and put it all into this tutorial to make it crisp and keep you guys interested. And that's the punchline. I want to save the talking and just do the explanations. I'm playing on my new Yamaha S90XS with hammer weighted keys, and suggest to everybody who learns playing piano to get good hardware. It doesn't need to be the most expensive piece. Hammer weighted keys are definitely the biggest fun, or the greatest help in my opinion. And yeah, other than that, just have good hardware that supports you. Now the other thing, I have a little mess going on here. We need to use all that. So I prepared that. I got my water here, and the washing machine is running in the background, so disregard that. Other than that, let's just get going. So there's a little bit of theory here, don't get scared. And what we should start off with is gathering a couple pages of note sheets, such as those, and I'll post a link where to get them, and print them off. And then what we should do is draw a couple notes in place, properly in place. So you can copy it off here, or you just look it up on the internet to make sure, you know, there's a difference between bass hand and treble. We start with the bass hand and go up in the treble, starting there. The difference is that in the bass hand, the notes on the staff, this whole thing is the staff, right? They are 2 notes offset, means they are 2 notes down. So a G, which is in the treble hand right there on the second line of the staff, is on the bass hand on the first line. So 2 lines down from there to there, or 2 notes down. Okay, so make sure you do that right. And then what we want to put down is our note values. That's very important, of course. So we put down the whole note, and it is worth as much as the whole rest. We have a half rest, quarter note, quarter rest, eighth note, eighth rest, 16th rest, 16th note. So get the theory on those. Okay, then we want to put down our special little symbols here that tell us the importance or the change of a note value, or the note itself, I guess. So flat, sharp, neutral, double flat, and double sharp. Those are the most used. For the time signature, sometimes we see those kind of symbols. We want to put those down. Excuse my dirty hands, by the way. Still a technician. And yeah, so those are the most important symbols that we want to cover right now, that we need. I'll see if I can even upload this page. You need to cover as much theory as possible. So even I have my little notes here, and I got a couple more. You know, it's very important to know the theory, and then the practical part makes a lot more sense. So yes, get that, please. So we move on. What we want to do is also scribble down a couple examples here, because we use those as a training. And then also this little song. I'll post all the links for those lessons. Okay. Very important. when we look at the hand, we want to give our fingers numbers. That is very important. I show you why real quick. Let's look at Wedding March, okay? So you see those little numbers right there? That one, that one, that one, that one. Those, those are our finger numbers. So yes, it is very important to have those, to know those. And how it works is, and you can write that down as well, right there. Our thumb is number 1, and our pinky is number 5. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same with the right hand. Thumb starts with 1, index fingers 2, middle fingers 3, ring fingers 4, pinky is 5. Okay, so scribble that down. Okay, let's move on to hand posture. We want to make a fist and relax. And as you see, we have slightly bent fingers, and that is what we aim for. We need them fingers slightly bent because we can play more precise. We have all the fingers on the keys, and then we can just play away. Sometimes you gotta stretch the fingers to reach a key or two or more, but ideally try to keep the fingers bent. That way you can transfer more pressure and you play more precise. And the movement should be only in the top joint, not in the lower ones. Top joint, the wrist for rolling or moving into the keys, okay, and the bottom arm. No elbow and no shoulder. And then we want to place our hands. We want to place them with pinky or number 5 finger, 5 finger, and then just from C on to G. Okay? And then actually that is a good training that you can do, is see whether or not you can play those notes smooth. If you don't want to go like that, that's not good. Not good. So my problem right now is still those two, okay? The ring finger and the middle finger, they're the most difficult. So try to focus and play those notes as close as possible, even and the same volume. And on the treble hand, we want to place our thumb, number 1, on C, and pinky on G. Okay? So those basics. Okay, now from hand posture to a little technique to move our hand to the next keys, such as from G on the left hand to complete a scale, for example. So let's do that. So that's a thumb over and a thumb under. So you pretty much just move the hand, tuck the thumb underneath a little bit, move the middle finger in place. Continue. Thumb underneath. Continue. Right hand. Alright, when we're talking about posture for the hand, we also want to make sure that we sit properly. And what we want to do is we want to put one of our feet in front of the other, depending on how you feel more comfortable, like this or the other way. That's what we want to do, okay? Make sure we support our back, because that's what this does. It actually holds up our back, and playing is much more comfortable like that. Okay, let's cover the keys. Since we have our hand placement talking about C, specifically middle C. Well, on my keyboard I have 88 keys starting with A, ending with a C. And in the very middle of every keyboard should be a C. That's why they call that middle C. And that is our focus point. That is what we will use for all the time. But just like the alphabet, our keys, start with an A, which is over here. So from middle C, you got the keys in the middle. Okay, there's two black keys, and we have a C, which is the white key to the left of the black key, right there. You go down 2, and that is A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Just like the alphabet, exactly the same. Okay? So talking about sharps and flats, well, almost every white key has a sharp and a flat. Let's take for example our G. That's G right there. And it has a sharp and a flat. The flat is to the left or down the keyboard. The sharp is to the right or up the keyboard. So G flat is that. G sharp is that. This very key is also a sharp, and that's the one for F. F up or to the right is F sharp. F doesn't have a flat. Well, not in form of a black key, but F flat I guess would be an E, but you would not say that. So then also we have a D sharp, which is that one there, or D flat, which is that one there. Straightforward. Now those sharps and flats are pretty much also referred to as semitones. When we get into values, note values, we want to make sure that we understand that. So as a semitone is pretty much half a tone. All the white keys are a whole tone. Okay, so C, D is a whole tone. Now a semitone is only from C to C sharp. That's a semitone, the step up. So now two semitones you figure is gonna be D, and that's correct because two semitones make one tone. Okay, so 4 semitones of C would make E. 3 would be semitone, 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 makes 3, and that's D sharp or E flat. D sharp, E flat. Okay, some more special symbols. Neutral, coming from flat and sharp, which you can also have right beside the time signature, like so, and specify a note throughout the whole staff being lifted or lowered a semitone. Well, if we have a note that we need to play differently than specified in the time signature, then we have this neutral symbol. So let's say, perfect, this is the Moonlight Sonata. You see my style there. So we have all these specifications, so our C, D, F and G are sharps here, but we want to play this A. We want to play this as a pure A and not an A sharp. A sharp would be this, right? But with this symbol in front of it, this neutral symbol, we play it as an A. Alright, that's what that is. Also, double flat as you figure makes it double flat, 2 semitones, double sharp the other way around. And then we have this fancy band, this tie they call it, and what that does, like I wrote here, means to add the two values to one note. So we have 2 quarter notes tied together, you just add it together, makes a half note. Okay? And we have a dot. Very careful with that. I'll show you later why. There's a couple pieces where we have to cover that. What that means is, in this example, we have a quarter note, but that dot adds half the value of the note it carries on top of the value. So that sounded confusing even for me. Quarter note, half its value is an eighth, right? So now we have this quarter note and an eighth, and we add that together. So this is a quarter and an eighth note. If this was a half note, if it was, I don't have an example. Yeah, sure, right there. Half note. If it was a half note with a dot on it, well, half of the value of the note would be a quarter. So it would be half and a quarter to play. Alright, so let's learn about scales and chords. A scale starts with any note, such as C major scale starts with C and ends with C. So you play a whole octave with a note, C, D, and so forth. We focus on C major scale, and it goes like this. Alright, and the chords for C major is that, or even that. Okay? And talking about chords, well, all it pretty much is a number of keys played together. Those are all the, or some of the major chords, and you can also play them, and that's a better finger training when you place your fingers properly again. So those are all the major chords. And of course we do the same for the right hand and learn all the chords there, and so forth. Alright, with half the papers on the floor, a couple moved to the side, we have access to the metronome on this other keyboard. And we have set it to 100 beats per minute. So 100 times of that, okay, makes 100 beats per minute. You could count that, but we don't have that time. Now, that is our reference for a value of a whole note. So 4 of these tings would make a whole note. If we play that, okay, half note makes only 2 of those tings. Quarter note, 1 ting. Eighth note, only half that. Alright? Okay, that's a 4/4 time signature. Now let's move on to something different, like the Hungarian dance. Okay, the difference here is we are at 2 quarter notes. Okay, we have a good example with a dot again. It's a quarter note, half its value is an eighth. We have an eighth note here. 2/8 makes a quarter, another quarter makes 2 quarters. Alright? Now, how would that sound though? Well, it would sound like that, something like that. Let's start the metronome. So pretty much every second of those tings we need to push the button. Okay. So now of course there's a whole bunch more time signatures, but yeah, there's a lot of theory lessons about that, and you'll have to look those up. I just don't have the time in the tutorial to cover that. Alright, so let's move on to how to train our hands. Well, like I said, when we learn our chords, the first thing we can do is simply play this. something like that, you know. Just utilize that chord or the 5 keys that we learned, C through G, and make sure that you can control your fingers properly. And then what we want to do is we want to add the second hand. So ideally, okay, do that kind of stuff. Now, of course, if you are right-handed, you will probably start teaching your right hand first, and then just move on to the left, and then add both together. Alright. Okie dokie. So as I mentioned before, maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, what we want to do is when we learn a piece, focus on the left hand first. We want to play our melody first, like canon D or four Elise. You know, it's a very repetitive procedure. Only the medium to hard pieces do not repeat as much and are, yeah, therefore harder to play. But the easier pieces just repeat over and over. Ode to Joy, for example, you know, it's the same. It's always the same. So that's what we want. Is we want something easy. We want to get to know our hands. We want to teach our hands to grab the keys that we think of and that we're told to push. And so, left hand first. Maybe even just the first staff. Only the first line here. Okay? And then move on and add the right hand. Or actually, as we played the left hand, then we only play the right hand until we feel comfortable, and then we add the two, and then you play away. And as you play away, you'll learn the whole piece just suddenly becomes easier for some reason. At least that's how I did it. Anyway, good luck. Alright, and to this example, what this is, it will teach us time signature. You see we have a 4-4, 3-4, 4-4, 2-4. And that will teach us our fingering, and it will teach us our time signature knowledge. So make sure, because this is bass hand, that you do not mistake these for an A. This is not A-C-E. It's not. Let's take our little sheet here and just compare. Okay, bass hand. And we're in the second space, so that's a C. That's C, E, and G. And then we just play those. C, E, G. It's that simple. Alright, well, I definitely like that metronome better on the YPT 410. Simply it is clear, much better for the video. Anyway, 4-4 signature, so we can hear the 4. Okay, so we have to fit 8 notes in there. It says 4-4, meaning 4 quarter notes make this whole measure. Okay, but we have 8 notes in here, so it's not like that. It's difficult. We have to get 4 times the C in it, but also 4 times that. Okay, here we go. Actually, when you do that, you can count to check whether or not you're good. You hear that ting? Okay, that is our start point and the end point. 4 times you have to get the C in. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, ping! Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so forth. 3-4 signature. Or works also. And then we have the 2/4 signature. And if it was only 2 notes, 2 quarter notes like it specifies, like that, or but we have 4 notes here that we got to fill in, and they're 8th notes. Oh, I didn't start with the click. I'm sorry. And so forth. Alright, remember this one? Well, if you looked at the website, you know what this is all about. But essentially, all we got to do is watch the notes. That is one of the most important things about this lesson right here, is you watch the note sheet. I guess for beginners, very beginners, you look at the keys too. But what we want to do is play and read. We want to read music and play. And what this gives us is the positioning for the hand. It tells us that C is number 5. 5 is our pinky. That's where we put the pinky. And so we can play this, the 8th notes, and the 2 quarter notes. And then it would go up. Let's go a whole 2 octaves up. And then it wants us to replace the fingers, and we want to put the 1, which is the thumb, 1 note up on A, and we want to put number 3 finger, which is our middle finger, on A on top here. Yeah, okay. Even I didn't do this one often enough, but it is really good training. Like I say, you play the left hand first. You place the fingers. And there you have it. Alright, the other one thing I was going to talk about is motivation. When I started playing piano, I picked a very easy piece. Then I picked Canon D, which was actually quite advanced already. But that was the good thing about it, is because when you have a challenge and something that sounds really good, something that you like a lot, and you have that to play towards too, well, that's a good motivation. That's what you want to do to yourself. So pick something like Canon D, for which I've made a tutorial. You can check that out on my channel. And then there's also, well, the Moonlight Sonata is a little bit hard, too hard. Still a good motivation. I'm playing it, so yeah. And yeah, there's lots more that you can do, and I suggest that to everybody also. Have a good medium to almost hard piece to play towards to, because then you see improvement. Alright, let's just record something here. That, and that. Alright.